I'm delighted to welcome you at the first Central Asia-European Union Summit. I would like to express the words of special appreciation to the President of the European Council, Mr. Antonio Costa, President of the European Commission, Ms. Ursula von der Leyen, and all my colleagues, the leaders of the countries of the region, for supporting our initiative to hold the summit at this very place, the ancient city of Samarkand. For many centuries, this renowned city, located at the main crossroads of the Great Silk Road, was an important center for dialogue of civilizations, diplomatic, trade and cultural exchanges between the East and the West. Many historic facts are there to it, namely, more than 6 centuries ago, Emir Timur, the ruler of Mavarana, established active relations with European monarchies to ensure free and safe trade. I cannot overlook the contribution of the great scholars and thinkers of our region, Khwarizmi, Fergani, Biruni, Avicenna, Ulugh and others, to the development of world science and philosophy, also in Europe. And today I am pleased to highlight that our relations, having deep roots, are dynamically developing and strengthening in the current conditions. Open, constructive and productive meetings that we held yesterday once again show political will and determination to deepen the partnership and practical cooperation for the benefit of our countries and region. Once again, I extend my gratitude to the heads of the main institutions of the European Union for their understanding and comprehensive support to the integration processes and sustainable development in Central Asia. I'm also pleased to see here our traditional partners, the President of the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, Ms. Renaud Basson, and representatives of the European Investment Bank. I believe these financial institutes are of key importance in promoting the cause and decisions of today's summit, held under the motto, Investing in the Future. In this context, I would like to mention that 8 years ago, the relations between Uzbekistan and EBRD were frozen, while today we are the largest beneficiary of the bank. Distinguished colleagues, our ministers and experts, in the wake of the Ashgabat meeting, we have prepared the summit's agenda that covers all of the main directions of the multifaceted cooperation. Today, we will also participate in the plenary session of the Samarkand Climate Forum. That forum is dedicated to the modern ecological challenges that Central Asia is facing. Unless you have any comments or suggestions for the agenda and the rules of order, I suggest that we commence our work. Do you agree? Thank you. In my capacity of this meeting's chairperson, allow me to speak first. Distinguished heads of delegations, our meeting is taking place amid dynamic and unpredictable global processes. We are witnessing growing geopolitical tensions, aggravating security problems, large regional conflicts, social and economic challenges to sustainable development. It is obvious that no region can address such complex issues alone without wide international cooperation. In this regard, I'd like to underline that Central Asia and the European Union are traditional partners, and their demand of closer cooperation keeps growing. We share the commitment of the European side to the principles and norms of international law. We welcome and fully support the wake of the negotiation processes on the peaceful settlement of the situation in Ukraine. We understand that very difficult and complicated issues need to be solved. However, we do not see any other alternative to the current diplomatic efforts and political settlement. Dear colleagues, the deep transformation in Central Asia that has gained sustainable and irreversible nature thanks to our shared political will is facilitating the development of our multidimensional cooperation. The countries of the region are strengthening trust and good neighborliness among each other, expanding large-scale collaboration and cooperation. 7 or 8 years ago, there were even no prerequisites for that. The borders between certain countries were closed. There was no trade, no transit, no business or any humanitarian exchange. The relations were simply frozen. No one could even imagine that in the nearest future we would be representing our region together during discussions with European leaders. I want to highlight that Central Asia's openness and commitment to mutually beneficial cooperation with all partners became the most important condition for ensuring the region's security and prosperity. In September this year, we will host the 7th consultative meeting of the heads of state of our region, a platform where we openly and constructively resolve all topical issues on the mutual agenda. I want to highlight in particular a historical event that took place on the eve of today's summit. I'm talking about the full settlement and signing of agreements on the delimitation of state borders between Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan. Once again, I sincerely congratulate my distinguished colleagues, President Emomali Rahmon and Sadir Japarov. It is worth noting that, together with our partners, we are implementing large investment and infrastructure projects in the region. Meanwhile, joint investment funds and companies are operating to provide support to such projects. Intra-regional trade is increasing. To incentivize it further, border trade zones are established. I'd like to underscore that all of this facilitates sustainable economic development of our countries and the region as a whole. EBRD experts estimate that this year's regional GDP will grow up to 6%, which is visibly higher than the average figures in other regions. In particular, Uzbekistan is ensuring sustainable economic development by industrialization, investments in infrastructure, liberalization of economy, and supporting business. I would like to note particularly our joint work on the formation of a common regional identity, as well as support to the cultural, humanitarian, and educational exchanges. We are opening branches of leading national educational institutions in our countries. We are promoting the project of a single Central Asia visa for foreign tourists. Distinguished heads of delegations, our first summit is a logical continuation of 2 meetings of Central Asian and EU leaders, which were successfully held in Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan. These interactions were useful to understand the mutual interests and define common avenues of partnership between the countries. I'd like to note that in recent years we have been witnessing noticeable intensification of engagement with the EU. For the past 7 years, trade between Central Asian and EU countries has increased several times, reaching 54 billion euros. Effective cooperation platforms have been launched. Ministerial meetings, forums, summits, and conferences in all key areas are held regularly across all areas. At the same time, I believe that this meeting should become the starting point of the new stage in the development of the multifaceted relations. In this regard, I would like to share our vision of priorities of further joint work for the mid and the long-term perspective. First, efforts and investments in strengthening political dialogue, as well as the legal and institutional framework of multilateral cooperation. Based on the outcomes of the summit, we are going to adopt a historic decision on establishing strategic partnership between Central Asia and the European Union. We believe it is important to develop jointly and take comprehensive measures for practical implementation of the document in question. I am convinced that our strategic partnership must be full of specific decisions, projects and programs. In this regard, we propose to consider the issue of signing a fully fledged partnership and cooperation agreement between our two regions. We are also supporting the following: regular ministerial level meetings of the heads of foreign ministries to synchronize on their international and regional agendas, intensification of interparliamentary ties and establishing the Central Asia-EU Interparliamentary Cooperation Forum, with its first meeting to be organized this autumn in Uzbekistan. Expanding cooperation among leading think tanks. We fully support the proposal of holding the summit once every 2 years. In order to ensure systemic work for the timely implementation of the agreements, we are ready to act as the summit's secretariat until the next meeting. Second, investments in economic and technological modernization must become the priority of our interaction. In the beginning of June, we are hosting the Tashkent Investment Forum in partnership with the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. As part of the event, we intend to showcase the current portfolio of projects with leading European companies and banks worth over 30 billion euros. It is worth mentioning that today all business captains, industrial and innovation leaders of Europe are working successfully in Uzbekistan and other countries of the region. Among them are such corporations as Total, Siemens, Linde, Airbus, BASF, EDF, Orana, OTP Group, and many other companies. We propose to hold a dedicated session at the forum with the title Investment Opportunities of the Two Regions. We also intend to present the concept of regional industrial park for European companies in Uzbekistan. I'm confident that the agreement signed earlier on the establishment of the Office of the European Investment Bank in Tashkent will provide incentives for the inflow of direct investments from the EU countries to Central Asia. We count on European partners' support for yet another initiative, the launch of an investment platform for promoting major regional projects in the fields of green energy, innovation, transport infrastructure and agriculture. In addition, we are making a number of new proposals to bring closer the economic interests of our countries. These include, in particular, conclusion of a multilateral investment protection and promotion agreement, establishment of a joint Central Asia-European Union Chamber of Commerce with broad engagement of the private sector, adoption of a joint regional program for the support of small and medium-sized enterprises, especially female entrepreneurs. We are ready to host in Uzbekistan the next Economic Forum and the Investors Forum for Transport Connectivity. It is also important to expand technical assistance of the European Union to increase the potential of our exporters, set up laboratories and centers of standardization and certification. Third, during the summit, decision will be taken on the deepening of cooperation and investments in the field of critical raw materials. It is noteworthy that Uzbekistan has a significant positive experience of cooperation with leading European companies in the field of geological exploration and development of strategic raw material deposits, establishing high-tech production and their in-depth processing. We are committed to deepening the expansion of mutually beneficial cooperation with the European Union in this particular area. The main obstacle is the lack of efficient transport corridors to deliver the production, as well as finished industrial and agricultural goods to European markets. In particular, we need to develop coordinated measures and create favorable business conditions for expanding and fully utilizing the capacity of Trans-Caspian Transport Corridor. I'm confident that these tasks are fully in line with the goals of the Global Gateway Program. In this regard, and with a view of developing coordinated approaches, we propose to convene, under the auspices of the European Union, the meeting of transport ministers of the countries located along this route. Fourth, investments in green energy and ecological environmental sustainability are becoming of strategic significance. Uzbekistan fully supports the international project to supply electricity from Central Asia to Europe. On the eve of the summit, the relevant agreement on the implementation of this project was ratified. It is noteworthy that we intend to increase the share of renewable energy in the country's energy mix up to 54% and commission 24,000 megawatt of green capacities by 2030. Establishment of Central Asia-European Union Partnership on Clean Energy can become an important platform for engagement. In order to develop the project financing and facilitate the growth of carbon credits market, we propose to form a working group at the level of the heads of relevant agencies. During the upcoming Climate Forum, we are going to present Central Asia Green Development Concept. Fifth, investments in human capital will expand educational, cultural, and humanitarian exchanges. This can be facilitated by providing special quotas to the countries of the region as part of Erasmus Plus program for training highly qualified specialists. We are ready to establish the Office of Horizon Europe program in Uzbekistan in order to enhance the scientific and educational cooperation with the countries of Central Asia. In addition, we propose to develop a joint program of scientific and technological exchanges in the field of artificial intelligence, big data, digital transformation, and cosmic studies. Uzbekistan is also putting forth the following initiatives: inclusion of the regional countries in the European Digital Education Action Plan, implementation of partnership roadmap among leading universities of Central Asia countries and European Union. The staging of National Ballet Lazgi with participation of European specialists has been a vivid example of cooperation in cultural sphere. In Europe, the largest museums such as the Louvre or das Neue Museum in Berlin and the Weltmuseum Wien in Vienna held successful exhibitions of Central Asian historical heritage. During the upcoming UNESCO General Conference to be held in autumn here in Samarkand for the first time in 40 years outside Paris, we would like to introduce even wider the rich culture and art of the peoples of the region to all our foreign partners. This year we also intend to host the first Central Asia European Union Tourist Forum in Bukhara. We count on the support of our regional partners in the implementation of One Travel Entire Region concept, which builds on the expertise of EU countries. In addition, we hope that visa facilitation for tourists from our regions will be given due consideration. Distinguished heads of delegations, there is a growing significance of cooperation in the fight against common security threats, including terrorism, extremism, radicalism, cybercrime, drug trafficking, and illegal migration. We support the proposal of European partners on the launch of the counter-terrorism dialogue. We believe it is important to expand the practical interaction as part of BOMCA and CADAP programs. We are ready to continue the political consultations on peaceful development in Afghanistan. Regrettably, the global community underestimates all challenges emerging from the territory of this country. We believe it is important to actively engage the Afghan side in regional economic processes, also through implementation of investment and infrastructure projects, restoring their social sector. We hope for understanding and support in facilitating the international community's constructive dialogue with the Afghan authorities to meet the current commitments to this country. Dear participants of the summit, in conclusion, I would like to emphasize the importance of introducing the mechanisms for practical implementation of our initiatives and agreements. In this regard, we believe it would be appropriate to establish the Central Asia-EU Partnership Committee at the level of Deputy Prime Ministers and hold its meetings on annual basis. Thank you for your attention. It is my great pleasure to offer the floor to distinguished Mr. Antonio Costa. Please, the floor is yours.